Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. I hope you're doing well. Let's do a quick preview and prediction for Joshua versus Robert Helenius. As I'm sure you're aware, this is a sort of late replacement. Was it 4 or 5 days notice Helenius came in? Look, I'm picking Joshua. Let me just say that, and you won't be surprised to hear that. But there's a few other things I want to mention. Well, first of all, prediction-wise, I think that Joshua will put the pressure on Helenius. He must be careful of Helenius's right hand. I'm quite sure Derek James has told him that. I know they haven't had much time to work on, tactics or how he's going to go about his work. But Helenius's right hand is heavy, and if he hits Joshua cleanly, he will have him in trouble because Helenius does have some power. I think for the first 3 rounds, Helenius he's going to have a bit of ambition. He only fought last week, so he should be physically fit or fighting fit. And of course, it's the same for both of them. Late replacement, what am I going to do? What are my tactics? Have to have a look at him, blah, blah, blah. Helenius is a big man, very tall, something like 6'6", 6'7". I keep hearing different heights, but he is very, very tall. He's quite big with it. And he's dangerous. He'll be dangerous for 3 rounds. From Helenius's point of view, I think he's got to go in quick, get up close to Joshua and just unload. I don't think he's going to outbox Joshua. Joshua has underrated skills, both with his fists and his feet. And I think he can control and contain Helenius if Helenius, he can control that, any aggression, if Helenius is going to be aggressive. But at the same time, Helenius is going to have to throw everything at him, I think, for the first 3 rounds and really try to get him out of there quite early. Joshua, I don't think Joshua needs to get greedy. If he stings Helenius, I don't think he needs to wade in. You remember the first Andy Ruiz fight where he put Ruiz on the floor and then he just walked in the front door and was met with a hook that put him on Queer Street, as I used to say. But if he doesn't get greedy, if he takes it nice and slow, nice and steady, I see him gradually breaking down Helenius. And Helenius, I think, if he will be dangerous early if he goes for it, if he has ambition. The first 3 rounds, Joshua's got to be careful, very, very careful. But I see Helenius gradually in the sort of middle rounds, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, that sort of time. 4, 5, 6, those sort of rounds, I see Joshua gradually sort of sapping the energy out of Helenius and sort of breaking him down gradually. Now, I think I'm picking a sort of stoppage in round about round 7. I think Joshua will stop Helenius in about 7 rounds, maybe 5 to 7, but I'll go with the 7. I've said 7, so I'll stick with it. I don't know, obviously, but it's one of those middle rounds, 5, 6, 7. And I think it will be a case of Helenius will just lose a bit of confidence, a bit of self-belief gradually. Is it possible he'll get pulled out by his corner? I suppose it might be. But the thing about Helenius is he's what Teddy Atlas rather sort of uncharitably called a game quitter, in that he'll be in there and he'll be fighting and he won't necessarily quit physically, but mentally he will sort of unravel the pressure that's put on him. And I can see this happening. I can see this happening with gradually as Joshua puts the heat on him. But again, I know I'm repeating myself here. Helenius for the first 2-3 rounds is going to be a dangerous guy, and Joshua will have to maintain that, just contain him, to keep him honest, crack him with the odd, obviously work the jab, that goes without saying, but also crack him with a few right-handers just to sort of say, you coming in the front door, this is what I'm meeting you with. The thing about this fight for me is, I don't care if Joshua looks good. People are saying, well, Wilder got rid of Helenius in 1 round. Helenius walked straight at Wilder and was looking to put it on him and got chinned. And anyone that can happen to anyone with Wilder, because Wilder has immense power in the right hand, just incredible power. With Helenius, if he's a little bit more circumspect, I think he can probably go more rounds, but I still don't think he's going to win. And I think with Joshua, what we've got to do, what we've got to see is, I don't care if it's a boring fight. I'm thinking from Joshua's point of view. If it's a boring fight, if the public aren't impressed because Joshua goes 5, 6, 7 rounds, Wilder did him in 1 round. I don't think that matters. Compare and contrast. What matters is that Joshua shows some of the things he's been working on with Derek James. right? Because there's no point in having a new trainer who's been with him for this is his second fight with him, if you're not honing the skills that you already have and bringing along new ideas. Maybe I don't know what that could be. There has to be some sort of evolution of a fighter. A trainer will not be able to completely change a fighter, but what they can do is they can evolve what they're good at and hone the skills they already have and add some nuances to it. And I think now that this is the second fight, we want to see some of that with Derek James. Tactically, we want to see Derek James giving Joshua the right advice as well. Some people have said that he didn't do too well with Errol Spence when Spence got beaten up by Crawford. Well, yeah, all right, you can argue that, but I don't think Spence was doing what James was asking. There was very little lateral movement. His angles weren't good, and Crawford was just too sharp, and Crawford's own angles and controlling the distance was just too good for Errol. So I wouldn't blame James for that, but I do want to see. Things that I want to see I want to see Joshua doing things that aren't necessarily spectacular, but they illustrate and that you can see immediately what he's been working in the gym with James on techniques and style and which punches to use when and so on. Yeah, I can see that because that's progress. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be spectacular doing it. In fact, you might not look particularly good doing it. I'm someone who thought Joshua got a lot of unnecessary heat for the Jermaine Franklin fight because it was his first fight back. I also think that I want to see some mental strength as well from Joshua. I don't want to see him looking gun shy. I want to see that he has gelled with Derek James, and Derek James has instilled a self-belief that Joshua used to have before he got chinned by Andy Ruiz the first time. I want to see a Joshua being proactive, sensible, controlled aggression, using good punch power when necessary, not getting greedy, especially in the early rounds, and actually showing that he and Derek James are working on things psychologically as well as physically. I think that's very, very important for Joshua. I think a huge part of Joshua's problem is psychological. His psyche was fractured by recent defeats and probably just the whole pressure of being a champion. I think it got to him. It made him question what is my boxing identity. In fact, what is my identity as a man now? Because I'm sort of public property. I'm a commodity. I'm almost a sort of walking corporation. And now I've been beaten, and everyone who loved me is now walking away. And it got to him. It just the pressure, the heat just got to him. And I want to see a stripping down of everything and a rebuilding. I think that's what you got to do, and it takes time. That's why I don't expect Joshua to look necessarily great against Helenius. It takes time to do this, to deconstruct someone and then put them back together. So I think as long as we see some progress and we see the right attitude and we see some controlled aggression, punches being used, knowing which punch to use when, not just throwing pointless punches in the hope that they land, not just being aggressive for the sake of it, control, poise, you're holding your shape, countering well, controlling the range, all of these things I want to see from Joshua against an opponent who is a rank outsider but is not a no-hoper. Not a no-hoper. If let's say Helenius won and he upset Joshua, I would be surprised, but I wouldn't be stunned. I wouldn't be like, oh my God, how did that happen? No, if Helenius comes with ambition and with confidence, genuine confidence, he's got an outside chance of winning. He's not useless. I mean, Kalnacki got rid of him. Kalnacki got rid of him too. No, Kalnacki got rid of him in. No, he beat Kalnacki twice, didn't he, Helenius? Who got rid of him early? I can't remember now. But yeah, I see Joshua winning the fight. Like I say, rounds 5, 6, 7. But he's got to be careful. So leave your comments below. Leave your predictions below. How do you think the fight's going to go? What do you think Joshua should do? What do you think Helenius should do? Do you think it's going to be an upset? Let me know all your opinions and I'll read your comments. I always enjoy that. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. If you're new, please hit the subscribe button. Please, you're building the channel up. That's great. And also hit the like button as well if you don't mind. I appreciate your time as always. And yeah, bye for now.